Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is April. I go by Ruby Rouge on the YouTubes, and let's get to the video. So this is my once beloved Modern Renaissance palette. I absolutely loved this palette when it came out. I think I was on a no-buy, or I had started like cutting back on buying stuff, and I was like, I don't want that palette. I don't want that palette. And everything in my gut was like, I want that palette. And if you guys have watched my channel for a long time, I actually have some restraint when it comes to buying, and I can actually resist the urges, but this one I just could not resist. She was so beautiful. The color scheme in here is stunning. But as time went on, you know, I kind of started putting this aside. I ended up with dupes for a lot of the colors. If you don't know me, I love VZ Art. I love the formula VZ Art. That's my favorite formula, and I had ended up getting some dupes for pretty much every shadow in here. I have a VZ Art dupe for, so that's like my favorite formula. I like the Anastasia formula, however, it does have a little bit of silicone in it, which maybe it's just because I have hooded eyes and maybe not the best technique. Sometimes that little bit of silicone kind of causes it to drag and get a little bit shiny. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that, even with like your matte shades, especially, I feel like Cypress Umber is a big culprit for that. But like, as you put it on, it'll get just a little shiny spot in it because it's because of the silicone. So it usually tends to happen right here for me. That's why I keep awkwardly doing this. So recently I've been working on a palette declutter, and I went in on this palette declutter. I created an Excel spreadsheet. I tried on every single shadow that I own, which this took months. This wasn't like something that I did just by the seat of my pants. Problem was, I couldn't convince myself to like really get rid of a lot of stuff. Just like, I tried to do the declutter. I couldn't convince myself to get rid of a lot of stuff. So I'm like, look, I need to go through and figure out what I have dupes for. I need to figure out like what formulas I'm still loving. I need to see if anything's changed. And I got to this palette and things happened for me. All of the shadows that I like love, I have dupes for. And the other ones, I just don't love them, so like I'm like, I could just let that go. And like some of these that I want to love, they just pull kind of weird on me, like a weird shade. I don't know, it just doesn't, it's not quite working with my skin tone. And then yeah, I have dupes, I have better formula, so I was like, this palette's gotta go. Also, as I was working with it, I felt like the formula was changing a little bit. I did buy this palette in 2016. That makes it 3 years old. The expiration on here is 6 months, so you know, no guarantees that this palette is going to be any good anymore. So I felt like the quality of the shadows may have changed a little bit. But let me get to this video, y'all. So I was watching Jessica Payne's video for her pan that palette for this, she's been painting this for a long time, but I was watching her update video and she was like, yo, there's rust in the pan. So she had panned the eyeshadow all the way to the bottom and there was rust in her pans. And I was like, ooh, it wasn't in every single pan, but it was certainly in Primavera, but it was also in one of her mattes, which was really strange because she's like, hey, look, I have used Primavera with a wet brush, so yeah, maybe that could explain a little bit of the rust issue, but the other, I can't remember what the other matte shade was. Whatever the other matte shade was, she was like, I wouldn't use a matte shade with a wet brush ever. So there was rust in that. She had repressed a couple of the shadows in the palette. However, none of those shades have rust in the pans. So I was like, well, I have that palette and I am decluttering that palette, so I'm gonna dig all of the shadow out of this palette and I'm gonna see if I have any rust in my pans. So I may or may not have any rust in my pans. I don't know. If I don't, I'm sorry you wasted your time watching this video. Yeah, let's start digging. All right, who is ready to destroy this palette with me? Dun dun dun. I want to mention really quickly though that I have 2 videos. I'm working on 2 videos right now coming up. One is going to be a derma roller video. I've been using a derma roller for over a year, so we're going to see, do I have any results or do I not? And the other video coming up is, I think it's going to be a get ready with me type or just chatty video about what I've been doing since I quit my job with absolutely no plan whatsoever. So yeah, those will be the two things coming up. Let's start destroying this palette. Okay, so like I said, the inspiration was from Jessica Payne. I'll link her video below. And oh my gosh, I'm like so hesitant to do this. I've already decluttered this palette though. Like, it's no longer going to be part of my collection. However, this still hurts. Yeah. So let's start digging. I have to mention that I'm like the messiest person alive. I try really hard, but okay. I think we have some rust here, folks. What do we think? I cannot, let's see. I can't get that out. See, so I'm going to try to scratch at that, but it's like stuck in there. Oh yeah, that is definitely rust. Let's see, can we see it on the camera? Can you tell? Honestly, I wasn't expecting anything, but you can definitely see Primavera is rusty. Okay, well, interesting. We'll see what else has rust. So far in this first row, it's just been Primavera. Uh-oh. Can you hear us guys hear that noise? There's more. Okay, so it's definitely those two shimmer shades. Okay, so here she is. As you can see, the only two shades that in my palette that had rust were Vermeer and Primavera. I did use a wet brush, I think, in both of those at different times. However, they are two shades that are quite a bit different, I think, than the rest of the texture of the palette. In Jessica's video, she said she had rust in some matte shades that she knew she had not used a wet brush in, so I have, obviously I can't speak on that because it didn't happen for me. There's also the kind of idea that the texture of Vermeer and Primavera was a little bit different than the texture of the rest of the shadows. So is it because I used a wet brush in there, or is it because something in those particular shadows was reacting with the pans? Anyways, I don't know how big of a deal it is if there's a little bit of rust in the pan. I'm not trying to make a conspiracy here. I actually have zero idea. Well, is that a problem? To me, it was just kind of more fascinating and interesting. I was just curious. I knew I was getting rid of this palette, and I'm like, well, let's see if it has rust. And yes, it does in fact have rust. Yeah. So anyways, like I said, you guys, if you're interested to see my upcoming videos, especially my derma roller video, I haven't finished that one yet, but I'm kind of excited about it. I think it'll be fun to see the before and after pics. I hope I get it all worked out. So comment down below, let me know what kind of videos you're looking for, if you thought this video was fun or just a complete waste of your time. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye! Okay, I thought it would be fun to make some Frankenshadows. So, let's see. What do we want to mix together? So I wonder if I put a little bit of this in here. What would we get? Not so sure about that color combo. What about this? With a little bit of real gar. Ooh, that's not very good either. Alright, well, I was going to make some Frankenshadows, but I'm just not so sure I know what I want to do. Now, real gar. Real gar is one of my favorites. With a little bit of this. Oh, that looks awful. Alright, so I thought this would be fun, but I'm like, I'm not feeling very inspired. Alright, we're just gonna mix some stuff up. See what happens. Okay, they're all starting to look the same. Don't worry, if I ever made makeup brand, this isn't how I would do it, okay? Maybe John Cookian. Okay, so are you ready to see what my Frankenshadows look like? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I didn't do a very good job. It looks they all just kind of look the same. I feel like they look a lot like baked shadows. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just gonna swatch these real quick. We're this far in. Let's see. That one's still really light and skin toned. Okay, these last shadows over here I actually repressed with alcohol. I found that this palette didn't really need repressed with alcohol. So I kind of want to see what happened to it, and I feel like it might have actually kind of damaged it. So just so you know, if you ever break shadow in this palette, you might not need to repress it with alcohol. Might actually be better not to. Yeah. Because it's looking like the shadows that I added the alcohol to aren't picking up as well now. Alright, 1, 2, 3. I'll just start here, 2. Yeah, see, you can barely even see that. Okay, so I actually created a look with this palette prior to using the alcohol. Anyway, so basically what happened was, I feel like what happened was it just kind of muted the palette. The warm tones were definitely, the pigment in the warm tones is definitely a lot stronger than anything else in this palette. So I feel like that I basically ended up with just like a super warm mid-tone muted palette. I feel like it looks a lot like the Urban Decay Naked palette actually, because they're all just sort of like right in the middle. I did create an eye look with the palette like I started to say a second ago, and I felt like it had the same vibe. I felt like it really had those vibes of Urban Decay, or even just a more muted version of this palette. So that was fun for me, but not really anything too super interesting probably for you guys. There are things that I want to mention really quickly, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to try to find a photo of this before I cleaned it off. I didn't think to take a photo, but I was actually able to clean this off pretty significantly, and all I did was take a dry paper towel and wipe at it. And it, like it looked really bad, so hopefully I can find a photo of it, but here's what it looks like now. I don't think I ever had an image of the back. However, you know, I did a lot of damage with this palette and I wasn't being like super neat because, hey, I'm throwing it away. Anyway, so I did want to mention that if you do have your Modern Renaissance palette, try wiping it off with a dry paper towel. It looks 100% better than it did. And lastly, I want to mention that I was editing the video a minute ago and the image that I have of the rust in the pan wasn't that great. So I thought that maybe I will clean these two out again and wipe them out with alcohol. So hopefully that you can see a little bit more clearly. So there might be, if you watched the video and you thought there was a weirdness there, that might be what happened. Otherwise, I'm going to let you guys go. If you're still here, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoy just playing and destroying and just doing random crap with makeup, because that's what I really like to do. And yeah, so I will see you guys again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.